discussing about the matter is and also the de Broglie hypothesis. See, to explain the concept of de Broglie wavelength, the Davison and Germer, the scientists, they conduct one experiment that is called Davison-Germer experiment. In the last class itself, we discussed about that experiment. That experimental setup which consists of a filament and also the two slits and also low tension batteries, and we have one anode. That anode is used to increase the velocity of the emitted electrons, that is called as accelerating anode, and we have a nickel crystal. That crystal we have taken as a target element, that is a face-centered cubical lattice, and we have a one chamber called as ionization chamber, and we have a one graduated circular scale, and whenever the emitted electrons which falls on a nickel crystal, then that electrons which deviates to an angle theta, that what we call that angle between the incident and the scattered photon, scattered electron, that is called as co-latitude. So these are the experimental setup. So in this experimental setup, F is nothing but there is a filament. So from which the electrons are emitted by the method called as thermionic emission. Thermionic emission is one of the type of the emission of the electrons by heating the element, means thermo, that's why it is called as thermionic emission. So by the phenomenon of thermionic emission, we have the emission of electrons takes place. That emitted electrons, we make it straight. That's why we are using two slits, that is called as S1 and S2. Now, after emitting the electrons, by using the high tension battery, we have to apply some potential for that electron to increase its velocity. So because of that, the electrons get accelerated. That is called a known potential difference is applied to accelerate the electrons. And these accelerated electrons beam, which made to fall on a nickel crystal, this is a face-centered cubical lattice, and it is capable of moving about an axis that is parallel to the incident beam by using the handle H. The scattered electrons, it can be collected on a ionization chamber which is connected to a sensitive galvanometer. And this ionization chamber, it can capable of moving, sliding at different positions on a graduated circular scale. And this, there will be a galvanometer which shows deflection. This deflection which gives a measure of how much that electrons can scatter. It gives the magnitude of the scattered electrons and also entered in a ionization chamber, and also it gives information about the intensity of that diffracted beam of electrons. So this is how the experiment is conducted. After this, let us, if you plot a graph, so a graph is plotted in between the galvanometer diffraction against that scattered angle, what we called, is called as co-latitude. Okay. So now the experiment is repeated for different potential differences, different accelerating potentials. So PD means what we are giving to increase its potential, its velocity of the electrons, that is called as accelerating potential. Now it is observed that if you plot the graph at different potential differences, so we are taking first, for that first of all we applied a PD of 44 volts, then we have to note down the deflection theta. Similarly, we have applied 54 volts, 60 volts, 68 volts, and each time we are plotting. It is observed that there is a definite hump on the hump formation ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ in all the curves corresponding to a spurt of ionization. A spurt of ionization means we have whenever the electrons scattered and falls on ionization chamber, there will be ionization of this takes place. In each ionization, we are getting a hump. But the hump, what we are getting, it is not well defined in all the cases. Sometimes the magnitude of the hump is small, sometimes that is totally vanished. So the hump is well defined only when the potential applied is 54 volts. So 54 volts potential difference ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮಗೆ ವೆಲ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಹಂಪ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and it makes an angle of 50 degrees. Whenever the scattered angle is 50 degrees and also applied potential is 54 volts, then only you will get well defined beautiful hump. Now suppose after finding all these things, we are treating that matter waves, the waves associated with the matter is called as the matter waves. So what we are discussing so far is sometimes any matter which can behave as a wave, sometimes any matter which can behave as a particle nature. So like this it can exhibit dual nature. So we have to find the wavelength, what we call the de Broglie wavelength, whenever in the two cases. So what is the value of the de Broglie wavelength whenever the electrons behaves as a wave, whenever the electrons behaves as a particle? That is we have to discuss. Suppose we have the electrons behaves as a wave, electrons behaves as a wave, then we will have to apply one formula that is called as de Broglie formula. So we have, by using this Dirac law, so we have consider the Dirac law. So this Dirac law is whenever the electron behaves as a wave, ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ವೇವ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದಾಗ let us here to apply. So 2d sin theta is equal to lambda. So this is a famous law, is organized owned by Dirac, that's why it's called as Dirac's law. 2d sin theta is equal to lambda. Here d is said to be a lattice constant. That is constant of a target element. Here we are taking the target as nickel. The target as nickel. So here the value of D for nickel, the value of D is 2.15. So this is lattice constant. Lattice constant means it's the distance between one plane to another plane. So that is in the nickel, the distance between plane to plane is 2.15. This is nickel. And we have N is equal to order of diffraction. Here the diffraction can take place in the first, in the beginning. That's why it's called as first order. First order means we have to take n is equal to 1. And also we have to say current. So whenever the potential is 54 degrees, the angle co-electrode found in this case is said to be 50 degrees. So the angle between the incident beam and the scattered beam, angle between incident electron and the scattered electron is we have 50 degrees. So So angle 50 degrees ಇಂದ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮಗೆ ವೆಲ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಹಂಪ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ನಾವು ಈ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ so they have to as it is. So d is going to be 2.15 sin of 50 degrees is equal to 1 into lambda because it is equal to 1. So now we have said that the lambda multiplied by lambda will get it is given by 1.65 angstrom. 1.65 angstrom and divided by lambda. So lambda is 1.65 angstrom. This is what we call d Broglie meter. This is given by d Broglie. ಈ ಒಂದು ಡಿ ಬ್ರಾಗ್ಲಿ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ is equal to 1.65 angstrom ಯಾವಾಗಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ whenever the electron behaves as the electron ವೇವ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು. ಈಗ let us imagine that the electron which behaves as a particle, whenever electron behaves as a particle, ಈ electron ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಇದು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದಾಗ ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಒನ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್. ಸೊ lambda is equal to h divided by mev, h divided by 2 mev. Yes, this is 2 mev to m square. So this is one of the expression for the wavelength in terms of potential difference. So ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ even now h is equal to lambda is equal to h is equal to 6.625 into 10 to the power minus 44 divided by square root of 2 into mass of the electron 8.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 minus 31 is given by charge of the electron 1.62 into the power of minus 19 and we have ಈ v ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ whenever the potential difference is v is equal to 54 volts. So whenever they will have theta is equal to 50 degrees, v is equal to 54 volts daga we get a well defined hump. So that's why we are putting this v is equal to 54 volts. So we have v into 54. So ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ we get lambda is equal to 1.66 angstrom. So this is what are the d Broglie wavelength. D Broglie wavelength. So look at this. Whenever the electron behaves as a wave diagram, lambda is equal to 1.65 angstrom. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ whenever the electron behaves as a particle ಬಂದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ lambda is equal to 1.66 angstrom. This is 1.65, this is 1.66. In the second decimal, they only one ಮಾತ್ರ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ. It means that here this which gives us the experimental result is in good agreement with the theoretical value. So theoretical value, experimental value, ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. And also whenever the electron behaves as a wave daga ಏನು ನಮಗೆ lambda value ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದೇ lambda value whenever the electron behaves as a particle. So this shows that the matter which behaves as a dual nature. So it is known as so we call that always a matter which behaves as a dual nature. So that means sometimes it behaves as a wave, sometimes it behaves as a particle. So this proves the de Broglie concept of the wavelength. That's why this we have to say that in both the cases we are getting the same, that is 1.65 and also 1.66. This is said to be an excellent agreement. This is said to be an excellent agreement with the experimental value. This shows that the electron behaves like a particle nature and also wave nature. Hence the concept of de Broglie. Okay. So ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಈ de Broglie ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಾವು by this one Davison and Germer experiment ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಈ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ನೋ, ಏನು ಮೊಟ್ಟ ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ನಾವು ವೇವ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನಾವು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಎರಡೂ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿ ಬ್ರಾಗ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನಂಗಾಯ್ತು. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗೋಣ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದಟ್ the properties of de Broglie matter waves. Properties of de Broglie matter waves. Okay. Properties of de Broglie matter waves. So, what are the properties of de Broglie matter waves? So, the de Broglie matter waves, first of all, let us check its phase velocity. Phase velocity of phase velocity of this matter waves. This phase velocity is also called as the wave velocity. Wave velocity. Phase velocity is also called as the wave velocity. So in this we know that according to de Broglie, let us say that according to de Broglie, lambda is equal to h by mv. This was initial equation for the de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equal to h by mv. But given that mu is equal to c by lambda, mu is equal to c by lambda. Whenever mu is equal to c by lambda, then the frequency mu is equal to mc squared by h. mc squared by h. ಹಾಕೋದಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ mu is equal to c by lambda ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು lambda ಗೊತ್ತಿದಲ್ವಾ? ಈ lambda ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಕೊಂಡಾಗ ನೋಡಿ, so mu is equal to c, lambda is equal to h divided by m into beta divided. So instead of putting the v is called as a velocity, so just we are putting in the place of we have to put c. C is also called as the velocity of light. That's why, so here whenever this mu is equal to c by c divided by h by mc, then we have said that according to this equation we have again we have mu is equal to, again I know mc into mc, mc squared by the what, mc squared divided by h. Okay, so like that the frequency is given by mc squared divided by h. Whenever mu is equal to mc squared divided by h, then phase velocity of de Broglie wavelength is given by phase velocity of de Broglie wavelength. Phase velocity of the de Broglie wavelength is Vp is given by mu into lambda. This is called as phase velocity. The phase velocity of de Broglie wavelength Vp is equal to mu into lambda. So we have phase velocity Vp is given by mu is given by mc squared divided by h. Lambda is given by h divided by mv. So h divided by mv. So now therefore Vp is equal to phase velocity is equal to, so ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ here h constant mo get cancels, so only we have c squared by v. Squared by v. So this is called as phase velocity. So here phase velocity means what happens is that after this one showing that Vp is equal to c squared by v. So here v is called as velocity of the particle. V ನದು denominator ಏನಿದೆ, V ನದು It is called as velocity of the particle, and it is always less than c, because v comes under denominator. So that's why always that particle velocity is always less than c. So c is called as velocity of light. Alige v is a particle velocity and it is always less than c. Hence that vp is equal to c squared by v ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಡಿನಾಮಿನೇಟರ್ ಇದೆಯೋ, we have to say that vp means phase velocity of de Broglie waves is always greater than c ಅನ್ನಂಗಾಯ್ತು. ಗೊತ್ತಾನೆ? ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ c ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಇದೆ, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಬೈ v ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು by common sense we are telling that phase velocity of the de Broglie waves is always greater than c. So this is one of the properties of matter waves. So let us, if we discuss the phase velocity of the matter waves, so we have to say that always that phase velocity of the de Broglie waves is always greater than c. This is one of the properties of the matter waves. And let us come to the group velocity. Group velocity means, suppose we have so many number of waves. So if we consider so many number of waves, then velocity of all these waves, velocity of all the group of waves is called as group velocity and is equal to the velocity of the particle formed by these waves. Here now e type ತೋರಿಸಬಹುದು. For example, if you consider amplitude and also if you consider that a displacement, then the number of waves which should be like this. So the second is called as group velocity. Group velocity is vg. For example, it should be like this, and c is called as amplitude. This is called as a displacement. This is called as a displacement. So now the wave starts like this, like this. You go. For example, the jasya. You go in. At the same time, next to you go in. So now you know that. So you get the like this. So now so many number of waves which should be like this. Right? So next ಏನಿಗೆ waves ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಈ waves ಏನು ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಒಟ್ಟ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ you get it to be like this. Okay, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಈ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ so we will get this. Okay, we get it like this. Okay. So this is what we call group velocity we are telling them. So the group velocity is the velocity of all the groups of waves. In this we have so many waves. This is called as group of waves. The velocity of all the group of waves. So that is called as group velocity and is equal to the velocity of all the particles formed by all these waves. Now we have to say that the next property is, third property is, but to find the relation between phase velocity and group velocity. So here we have to find the relation between Vp and Vg. Vp means phase velocity, Vg means group velocity. So let us consider a particle that is having a mass m And here, let that particle is having a phase velocity Vp and also group velocity Vg. Then, so, and also the lambda is called as a de Broglie wavelength and mu is the frequency of the wave. Then, we have to say that Vp is given by mu into lambda. You know that Vp is equal to mu into lambda. Phase velocity is given by mu into lambda that we have discussed in the beginning. So, Vp is equal to mu into lambda. But lambda is equal to h by 1v. So here we are putting the group velocity. That's why I put this as h divided by mvg. So h is equal to h by mvg. That's answer equation number 1. Now the total energy is given by the total energy is equal to half mv squared. Half mv squared. Here we are taking group velocity, that's why total energy is given by half mvg square. But E equals h nu, but we don't know that. So E is equal to h nu also. So now h nu is given by half into m into E square. So because that E is equal to h nu, in the place of E, we are putting h nu, that is equal to half into m E square. So nu is equal to half into m E square divided by h. ಈ h ಈ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ half into m into V square g divided by h. ಈಗ ನಾವು using this Vp nu into lambda ತಾನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ nu ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ lambda ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. Let us substitute the values of nu and lambda. So now Vp is given by that the nu is given by this one half m V squared g divided by h, and lambda is given by h divided by m V g. Okay, so nu ke lambda ke substitution ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. So substitution ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ n and m get cancels, h and h get cancels, and also we have one Vg and other one Vg get cancels. ಇಲ್ಲಿ Vg squared ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ Vg ಇದೆ. one Vg and Vg cancel ಆಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದವರಿಗೆ Vp is equal to Vg divided by 2. So we have Vp is equal to half into Vg. So here Vp is called as phase velocity, Vg is called as group velocity. Phase velocity group velocity so the sambandha relation ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is half of that. Okay, always that phase velocity is equal to half the group velocity. So this is what we know, that relation between phase velocity and also group velocity. So like this we have to find one statement that means that phase velocity is always half the group velocity. Phase velocity and group velocity gonna 50% half ಇದೆ. So these are some important properties of this one, properties of matter waves. Okay, so out of those we'll have phase velocity discussion ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, group velocity ಮತ್ತೆ phase velocity ಗನು group velocity ಗನು so ಏನು ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ so this one end of the first topic. ಏನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ that one here? First of all we had to discuss what are things in the first one. Okay, so Planck's quantum ಬಗ್ಗೆ and also Planck's constant, and we discussed about that light as a collection of photons ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, and also that the photoelectric effect, the definition of the photoelectric effect, and what are the properties, important properties, otherwise we called experimental facts about the photoelectric effect, and also the Compton effect ಬಗ್ಗೆ, Compton shift ಬಗ್ಗೆ, and how that shift, Compton shift, which mainly depends upon the scattering angle phi, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ discussion ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. And also we have the de Broglie wavelength and the beta waves, and this de Broglie wavelength can be well defined by making use of the experiment called as Davison experiment. So ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. So after this, let us we have to discuss other some things that is called as the problems. Okay, problems ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Otherwise we have to discuss some of the things here. Okay. So here some of the conceptual questions about this one. It is given that the conceptual questions alli part C anta heltivalla ನಾವು part C ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ some of the question that question is having a 2 marks question, that is called as a thought provoking questions. So out of those thought provoking questions, let us have to discuss one by one in this. Suppose we have a photon. Is photon a wave or a particle? Write an expression for the energy of a photon ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು, is photon a wave particle or a wave or a particle? Is photon a wave or a particle? ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು, photon is said to be a light particle. Photon ಅದು light particle. So another one question is asked, write an equation for the energy of a photon. Energy, what is the equation for the energy of a photon? E is equals to h nu. Good, fine. Yes, E equals h nu. Because we have a photon. Photon is having a frequency nu, and h is a Planck's constant. Then that energy of a photon is given by E equals h nu. ಅದನ್ನ ಕಾಂಪ್ಟನ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಲ್ಲ ನಾವು, ಒಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇ ಇದೆ, ಇ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ಸ್ h nu ತಿಳಿದಿಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್, ಇನ್ನೇನಿಲ್ಲ ಥಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊವೋಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥವನ್ನೇ ಕೇಳೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಫೋಟಾನ್ is given by E equals h nu. Okay, fine. Now next, the second question is, what is the rest mass and charge of a photon? ಒಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾನೆ. Now the question itself tells us it's a photon is having no motion at all. It is under rest. That's why there will be no mass for the photon. We have to say that the rest mass of a photon is 0. And photons are electrically neutral. There is no charge for the electron. That's why photon is said to be a electrically neutral. So that is, the photons do not carry any charge along with that. So ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ the rest mass of the photon is 0 and that photon do not carry any charge. It's a neutral one. Okay, this is a thing. Next is the photoelectric effect is instantaneous process. Why? Photoelectric effect instantaneous process question ಮತ್ತೆ why anta. So is whether photoelectric effect is instantaneous or not?
Yes sir, instantaneous.
Yes, photoelectric effect is yes, okay, it's instantaneous. How? Let us explain. Why it is called as instantaneous process? So whenever a light of suitable frequency incident on a metal, within no seconds, within a fraction of a second, that emission of electrons takes place. Otherwise, that's why it is called as instantaneous process. So the answer in Galabako is photoelectric effect is instantaneous process. Why anta kelaga? Yes, because there is no time lag between the incident and incident light and also ejection of electrons. So that's why it's called as that instantaneous process. Next is, will brighter light liberate more photoelectrons than the dimmer light of the same frequency? Why? ಏನ್ ತಿಳ್ಬೋದು ನೋಡಿ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿ. Will brighter light liberate more photoelectrons than the dimmer light of the same frequency? Why? ಇದು ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿ ಫೋಟೋಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದೀವಿ, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಎಸ್ ಅನ್ಬೇಕು. ಹೌದು, ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫೋಟೋಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the number of photoelectrons emitted is mainly depends upon the intensity of incident light. ಅದಲ್ವಾ? ಆ ಲೈಟ್ ಏನು ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. even though the frequency is same, but the intensity ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Totally the number of emitted electrons mainly depends upon the intensity. That's why the answer is yes, because brighter light has more intensity than the dimmer light. So iде ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, bright light dimmer light. dim light ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ intensity, bright light ಅಂದ್ರೆ intensity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. So that's why we'll have that photoelectrons are more number of emitted in the case of a bright light than the dimmer light. Okay, this is the answer. Next. So next, what happens to the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons when the wavelength and frequency of the incident radiation is increased? Incident radiation ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು frequency ನಾವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, wavelength ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ what happens to the kinetic energy of the emitted electrons? ಹೌದಾನೆ? So ನಮಗೆ yes, kinetic energy decreases. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? kinetic energy decrease ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. When the wavelength of incident radiation is increased, the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is decreases, whereas the frequency increases, that kinetic energy of the photoelectrons increases. Frequency ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಫೋಟೋ kinetic energy of the photoelectrons ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Okay, next. Is Compton scattering is incoherent? Explain. Is Compton scattering is incoherent? Explain. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ coherent and incoherent ಅಂತ, ಅದಲ್ವಾ? coherent ಅಂದ್ರೆ co means same, incoherent ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್, ಅದಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಕಾಂಪ್ಟನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಟರಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎರಡು ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್. ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾಗಿನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಎ incoherent. That's why the answer is yes. In Compton scattering, there is a change in wavelength of the scattered beam along with the change in its direction. So ನೀವು change in its direction ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ಚಿಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. So in the scattered photon, there will be two wavelengths. There will be change in the wavelength. That's why that Compton scattering is said to be incoherent ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಾನು ಅವತ್ತು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀವು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಏನದು, when the Compton shift is maximum and minimum and no Compton effect. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಾಂಪ್ಟನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಾಂಪ್ಟನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ there will be no Compton effect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಕೇಸ್ 1, ಕೇಸ್ 2, ಕೇಸ್ 3 ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದಿಲ್ವ ನಾವು? ಆ ಕೇಸ್ 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ whenever that scattering angle phi is equal to 0 ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಾನೆ? whenever phi is equal to 0 ಇದ್ದಾಗ we have no Compton scattering, means ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಟರ್ಡ್ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ there will be no Compton effect. ಗೊತ್ತಾನೆ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಕಾಂಪನ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವಾಗಪ್ಪ ಕಾಂಪನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಯಾವಾಗಪ್ಪ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಟರಿಂಗ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ 90 ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ ಹೌದಾನೆ. whenever the compound shift is maximum on the scattering angle theta is 90 degrees. Okay, next, if visible light photon is used in Compton scattering experiment, will the photon undergoes wavelength shift in the scattering? Is it possible to detect the shift with human eye? The answer yes. Scattering takes place. ಹೌದು, ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಟರಿಂಗ್ ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್. ಆ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡಿಟೆಕ್ಟಬಲ್. ಯಾವಾಗ ವೇವ್ಲೆಂತ್ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತದೋ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದು ಡಿಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಕಾಂಪನ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಐ. ಓಕೆ, next, an electron and neutron have the same de Broglie wavelength. Electron ಮತ್ತೆ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಸೇಮ್ de Broglie wavelength. Which one will move slowly and why ಅಂತ. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ wavelength of the electron is equal to the wavelength of the neutron, what it is given. So here finally ನಾವು ಒಂದು equation ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ, h/mv ಅಂತ ನಾವು equation ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ನಾವು ಅದು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. h ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಬೈ MEVE ಇದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, h ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಬೈ MnVn ಇದು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ h ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆದಾಗ ಸೊ MEVE is equal to MnVn ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. then Mn by Me is equal to VE by Vn ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Since the mass of the neutron is more than that of the electron, electron ಗಿಂತ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, hence neutron moves slower. So ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತೋ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, hence neutron moves slower than that of the electron. Okay, is de Broglie hypothesis of matter waves applicable to electron in an atom justify? de Broglie hypothesis ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ? yes, de Broglie wavelength is associated with the motion of electron. de Broglie wavelength is associated with the motion of electron ಆಗಬಹುದು, ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, motion of electron in the atom. But these waves gives rise to standing waves. ಅದು it looks like a stationary waves. Standing waves means stationary waves. Hence electrons are in stationary orbits. Which experiment proves that electrons also exhibit wave nature? What is its wavelength? ನೋಡಿ, ಯಾವ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ವೇವ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್?
1.6625.
1.6 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, 1.65. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ವೇವ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅಂದಾಗ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 1.65 ಬಂತು. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ 1.66 ಬಂತಲ್ವಾ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನೀವು 1.65 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೊದಲೇದು. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ವೇವ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು? ಡೇವಿಸನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಜರ್ಮರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ Davison and Germer experiment proves that electron also exhibit wave nature. The wavelength of electrons is 1.65 angstroms. So these are some conceptual questions, thought-provoking questions that we are going to face in this. Okay, thank you. Next class alli naalike nanu next ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. Okay, thank you.